My opponent claims that the bill I used to reform anti-bullying laws was not accurate and that it had nothing to do with what I was talking about in my affirmative claim. She stated that the bill she found was about amending sexting rather than bullying itself, like the bill that I had previously talked about. Well, I chose SB 919 for the state of Hawaii and it was proposed in 2011. The bill that she found was proposed in 2010. The title of my bill is called SB 919 Safe Schools Anti-Bullying Act. And the title of the bill that she found is called SB 919 Safe School Sexting. So you can already tell the difference between the two titles. I would first like to state that my bill is accurate, and it has everything to do with reforming anti-bullying laws. Now, I'm going to give a brief background on my bill. According to govtrack.us, SB 919 Safe Schools Anti-Bullying Act requires the Department of Education to maintain, monitor, and enforce anti-bullying and anti-harassment policies and procedures to protect students or groups of students from bullying, cyberbullying, and harassment. My opponent also mentions that I use several bills, and I wanted to clarify that I only mentioned one bill in my affirmative claim, which was SB 919 Safe Schools Anti-Bullying Act. My opponent argues about sexual orientation, which I never talked about in my affirmative claim, so I was a bit confused as to why that was even being talked about. My opponent also states that bullying laws do not need a reform, because, and I quote, bullying system laws are in a good place. However, according to bullying.gov, there is no federal anti-bullying law. Although 49 states have anti-bullying legislation, bullying is not illegal. So even though there may be strong anti-bullying regulations, anti-bullying laws are non-existent. And I feel that there has to be a reform in order to stop bullying-related suicides, killings, and harassment. I also want to state that even though my opponent may think that anti-bullying laws do not need any type of reform, the school system sometimes chooses to ignore these cases in order to protect their school's reputation. Just recently, there was a report on CarterLaws.com. Ruth Carter stated, "These deaths shouldn't happen. We all know which kids get picked on at school. You can tell that they're miserable even if they haven't directly reported that they're being abused by their peers." And unfortunately, there are recent reports where families have informed the school that their child was being bullied and they allegedly did nothing. Just this week, there was a report about a mother in Gilbert who moved her daughter to another school because she was being bullied. The girl was allegedly stabbed with a pencil and was physically attacked so badly that she had bruises. The school has an anti-bullying policy in accordance with Arizona law, but officials appear to ignore it. So if bullying policies and laws are already stable, then why did this school choose to ignore the mother's claims, even when there was physical evidence? My opponent also claims that the victims are actually getting in trouble themselves. Well, I would first like to state that if bullying wasn't there in the first place, no one would be getting in trouble. There wouldn't be any victims. Also, the victims are in so much fear that they would rather jeopardize themselves with the law in order to stop the bullying completely. So that shows just how serious this problem really is. According to CNN.com, there was a case in 2011 where Jorge Saavedra, 15, stabbed and killed his bully, Dylan Nuno, 16. Well, after his trial ended, he was not charged at all. The judge stated that she had more than enough reason to believe he was in danger of death or great bodily harm from 16-year-old Dylan Nuno. Court documents showed that Saavedra had been bullied for months. Saavedra was originally charged in juvenile court with manslaughter, but the judge ruled that according to Florida's Stand Your Ground law, his actions were legal because he was acting in self-defense. So not every bully victim gets charged. In most cases, they act upon self-defense because they are in great deathly fear. She also claims that by having more anti-bullying laws, the bullies will take pride. I feel like that is a more opinion-based statement rather than a fact. If that is true, should we choose to ignore anti-murder laws because the murderers will take pride in what they do? She also claims that bully laws are showing students how to bully. Again, I feel like that is a very generalized claim. I think that anti-bullying laws are there for a reason, and if they were showing kids how to bully, the state would immediately reconsider these laws. My opponent also claimed that bullies only want attention, and that most don't mean to cause any harm. Well, my opponent didn't name any examples regarding that statement, and I feel like that statement is being generalized to a small sample of bullies. According to NoBullying.com, there was a statistic found this year that 75% of school shootings have been linked to harassment and bullying. They also stated that, no shockingly, students who are bullies as young adults continue the trend of abuse and violence into adulthood. By the age of 30, approximately 40% of boys who were identified as bullies in middle school and high school have been arrested 3 or more times. I feel that we need to desperately stop bullying, and I strongly disagree with my opponent. I feel that anti-bullying laws need to be reformed in order to stop all of these suicides and harassments related to bullying. I would like to end with a quote by Tim Field. Bullying consists of the least competent, most aggressive employee projecting their incompetence onto the least aggressive, most competent employee and winning. Thank you.